Lots of tension building, lots of drama. The green flag waves at the back, and the Union flag is dropped. Away they go, and the Cobra's out. Bad start from pole position from the Jag of Chris Ward. He's been eaten up by the, let's go, 250 LM down the side on the grass. That's the Gary Pearson car muscling back onto the track. But it was the Cobras, and the Bizzarini has gone late. The number 11 Bizzarini, which is way down the order now. And that's the one of Andrew Hall, but it's Cobras, it's Hart who leads, isn't it, from Wolf. And behind Wolf, it's Andrew Smith riding on board here. Behind with Matt Neal behind the Lister Coupe, and a fixed head Coupe Jaguar up ahead as well, down towards St Mary's. Bruce, what do you see out there?
Well, what I can see is clear gap between David Hart. That brilliant start from the outside, the front row, and the number 1 Cobra, but equally good start from the red and gold Cobra coming through in the hands of Smith. And the real loser was the pole man. That was a disastrous start for Chris Ward. Didn't have the grunt of the Cobras and has been subsumed, knocked back into the pack. But David Hart making his break. There's Ward back in 3rd place, but it's Hart, Wolf and Smith at the front. What's going to change further down the order? And of course, keep an eye out on that short wheelbase number 6 Ferrari. Doesn't have the legs, the cars at the front, but it will be coming up.
Ward has already got back to 4th. He got ahead of the TBR somewhere near you, Bruce. He's attacking the 3rd place Cobra really close to it as they come into the chicane. He'll be annoyed with himself for such a poor start, and he's got to find a way past 3 Cobras, which will be very quick. And he's almost on the grass coming out the chicane. So Chris Ward, I think, probably a bit rattled from that bad start, and he's got to gather himself together.
Quite a moment.
A long way to go yet.
2 more Cobras snarling after them. Sean Lynn in 13 and Ludovic Caron in 12. They're going after the TBR at the back of that lead group. But at the end of the first lap, it was number 1, which was David Hart, from Michael Gans and Andrew Smith, all Cobra mounted. Ward in 4th place. Whitaker in the TVR was 5th. Carroll and Glynn were the next 2 through.
Well, with the launch of the new TVR Griffith on Friday, it's quite fitting. There is a TVR Griffith right at the front end. It's in 5th place at the moment, but David Hart is stretching his lead out, and it must be said that Andrew Smith is all over the back of Andy Wolf, and now he's got the E-Type and the little TVR Griffith coming onto his tail, but making good his escape as the TVR puts the power down. In fact, we're riding on board with Whitaker, really trying to find the traction at Lavant. He doesn't want that E-Type of Ward to get any smaller ahead of him, because up front, David Hart is escaping in the number 1 Cobra.
Yes, he is. He's got his teenage son, Oliver, taking that car over partway through the race. But chasing them down, it's Michael Gans, the American, who starts the 94, and behind him, Andrew Smith in the red and gold Cobra. But it's David Hart stretching away. Here he goes, past us in the car in which he won in 2014 with Guido van der Garde. Through he goes, and it's 94. Gans who leads the chase. Behind Gans is Smith. Smith looking up the inside. Andrew Smith. There's a slight touch there between the 2 Cobras, and it just put a little bit of a kiss on the second one. You can see it's just done that, and Ward's right behind, snapping at their heels, and also right there, Michael Whitaker in the TVR as they come down through 4 water. Let's see that again. Up the inside they came. There was just a little tag there, and it's just altered the front shape of the front wing of the red car, the ex-Roy Salvadori Cobra.
And well, it's all changed because Ward is now through after that moment into 3rd place, and look at him, a tail swinging out. Is that Gans or Wolf in the 94, Marcus?
Gans.
It's Gans. So the American hanging on, and he's going to have to really work very hard because his car seems much more wayward. Look how the Jaguar E-Type with 89. Chris Ward is turning in so much more positively into the corners. Then the grunt of the Cobra comes in, and you'll see Gans eking his way clear all over again. But by the time they've gone through the kink, got their way down to Woodcote, let's see the E-Type. It's going to close right in, not close enough to make a move, and all along he's got Smith coming back at him in the red and gold Cobra behind.
Now, for the last 2 laps, Ward has been really sideways out the chicane. He's got himself beautifully positioned. He's almost so eager to try and get a run on the Cobras. We're on board with him now. Will he be a bit neater this time? He's tucked up right behind again, out of it, and this time he does keep it nice and neat, so not so much lost ground, and that means he'll be able to launch an attack on the Cobra, probably on the run down towards St Mary's, Bruce, because I think that's where the E-Type's really good through the high speed stuff and corner entry.
Yeah, it's all working very well for David Hart as those fight behind him. He's nearly 4 seconds clear. Let's have a look, turn to my right, and I see the first car coming to Ford Water. It's not under any of these. 94 is in second place. It's the one who's well clear, lights ablaze. He's halfway down to the turn into St Mary's as the chasers. Gans, Ward,
Chris
who,
Ward,
as you said, is shaping up to make a move into St Mary's. Can't do it. Gans has adopted the inside line. He's hanging in there. He's going to have a flick of the E-type into the second part of St Mary's, but no, well covered indeed by Gans. But again, he's sideways in the dip. We got one of the Corvettes into the pits, unfortunately. Plato
That's
Davis.
Craig Davis. Chris Ward touched the curb coming down to forward at that time, just slightly unstabilised. He's up the inside now of Gans, and there's a little, I think just a little brush there because Gans had to back right out of it. He's been overtaken by Andrew Smith. Gans continued though, kept it on the island. Ward up into second at Lavant, then Smith barreling down the inside. Gans trying to pick himself up after the little moment down there. And Whittaker and Sean Lynn going well with them as well. Great train of cars. Ward, Smith, Gans, Whittaker, Lynn, and then Ludovic Caron at the back of that group. But out front, convincingly so at this stage, David Hart in the #1 Cobra, the red striped car. 4.4 seconds clear after 4 laps.
But we know from yesterday that Chris Ward can lap consistently in the mid to late 25s in the E-type, and the fastest lap so far is Hart's 1:26.5. So assuming the conditions are roughly the same, I think Chris Ward will have the pace to go after the #1 Cobra now.
The classic situation there, one little slide wide, and when you're so close you can lose a couple of places. That's exactly what happened. So now Michael Gans in 94 back into 4th place, just coming to Smoke. Let's have a look at the replay. We're riding, looking forward at what's happening in front. Then a little slip up. That's all it was. And bang, 2 cars going straight past. All filmed from Whittaker in 5th place, but Gans was 2nd. And then bang, in the flash of an eye, he was down to 4th place. There was that little kiss, perhaps.
Well, he was more alongside than Gordon Chedd was on the Guido van der Garde last year, which was a similar sort of idea, where the E-type can just hold a tighter line through there. So it was a bit door hand to door hand. The Cobra's always washing out more, and Ward is edging away from those 2 Cobras. Any damage on the side? Can't think.
Ward has got he's set the best sector 1 and 2 of anybody in the race on this lap 5. He's on fire. He's flying up towards the chicane. Nice and neat coming out.
How much did he taken out of the advantage? It was 4.4 seconds. It looks it's down to about 3 and a bit. Let's have a look when it crosses the line. 3.4.
Fastest lap then to Ward, a 1:26.194. Gap is 3.4 seconds.
So that gap ought to come down and down. What's going to happen with the chasing bunch behind? Andrew Smith, I think, is going to start dropping Michael Gans. Gans has looked a little bit loose. Now, of course, we've got change behind because Whittaker's fallen behind Sean Lynn. I
think it's Ludovic Caron, isn't it? Isn't it Caron in the number 12 car? I know I think it might be done by both, Bruce. When you come down to you might be able to see.
Yeah, moving up well is Sean Lynn in 13 up to 5th place.
Awards off.
And that's the leader, off onto the grass at St Mary's.
2nd place has been ceded back to 4th, so it's been all changed yet again in that battle. And in behind 13, we think it's Sean Lynn closing in the red and white Cobra, so Ward has got to do it all over again. Just set the fastest lap of the race, was cutting down the advantage of the race leader, David Hart, and it's gone totally in Hart's, the Dutch driver's favour there. Is that another Corvette in the pits? I fear it is. We had a white and blue, now we've got a blue and white. Disastrous for the Corvette
That's
crews.
right, that's the Sam Thomas car that Jack Goff is due to take over. And here's the leader, David Hart then, on his merry way in the #1 Cobra. And down to the chicane, here they are then. It's Andrew Smith, Michael Gans, the chastened Chris Ward, and then Sean Lynn in the 13 car, chased by Ludovic Caron. He's got past the Tiger.